I'm 43 years old. I've been married to my wife, Hannah, for 16 years. We have 2 kids, a mortgage, a golden retriever that sheds too much, and a kitchen faucet that never stopped leaking. Until recently, I would have told you my life was painfully normal. Safe. Predictable. We weren't some fiery, passionate couple anymore, but we were steady. I thought steady meant secure. We moved into this neighborhood 8 years ago. Quiet street. Lawns trimmed like military haircuts. Neighbors who wave but don't pry. The kind of place where you borrow sugar and return it with cookies. I worked long hours in commercial real estate. Hannah worked part-time from home. She handled the kids, the house, most of the invisible labor. I told myself I was providing. I told myself that was enough. If you had asked me 6 months ago if I trusted my wife, I would have laughed. Now I can't even trust the sound of running water. The faucet started dripping sometime in early spring. Not a dramatic leak. Just a slow, steady tick against the stainless steel sink. I kept saying I'd fix it. I never did. That's when Mark entered the picture. Mark is our neighbor. Early 40s. Divorced. Friendly in that overly available way. He's the guy with every tool imaginable in his garage. The kind who fixes things for fun. One afternoon I came home and Hannah casually mentioned, "Oh, Mark stopped by and fixed the faucet." I remember feeling relieved. Grateful, even. I shook his hand later that week and thanked him. He smiled a little too long. I told myself that was just his face. After that, it was small things. Mark helping with a loose cabinet hinge. Adjusting the sprinkler system. Carrying in a heavy box when I was out of town. I didn't see red flags. I saw a helpful neighbor. And maybe that's the first thing I hate about myself. Hannah started mentioning him more often. Mark says the HOA might raise fees. Mark thinks we should reseed in the fall. Mark had the same issue with his water heater. It was harmless. Or so I thought. I work late. Sometimes I'm gone before the kids wake up and back after dinner. Hannah would tell me about her day in pieces. Somewhere between school pickup and grocery runs, Mark's name became background noise. One Saturday, I came home early from a client meeting. His truck was in our driveway. Not unusual. He was installing a new garbage disposal. They were in the kitchen when I walked in. Standing close. Too close? I don't know. They jumped apart slightly when I opened the door. Hannah laughed it off. You scared us. I laughed too. That night, I lay awake replaying the way she looked at him when he spoke. Not romantic. Just lit up. I told myself I was being paranoid. Good husbands don't get jealous over plumbing. The first rail crack happened with a text message. Hannah left her phone on the coffee table while she showered. It buzzed. I wasn't snooping. I swear. I just glanced. Got it running smooth now. Let me know if it starts dripping again, winky face. It was from Mark. That winking emoji burned into my brain. Maybe it was harmless. Maybe that's just how people text. But I couldn't shake it. When she came downstairs, I casually asked, "What's with the wink?" She didn't miss a beat. "He's joking about the faucet." "You're being weird." Maybe I was. But that night I noticed she started taking her phone into the bathroom with her. Face down on the counter. Always locked. The faucet stopped dripping. And something else started. A slow, quiet leak in my gut. I wish I could say I confronted her immediately. I didn't. Instead, I became the detective in my own house. I hated myself for it. I noticed patterns. Mark's truck parked outside when I was at work. Curtains drawn on weekday afternoons. Hannah wearing makeup on random Tuesdays. One evening, I checked our home's security app. We have a doorbell camera. I'd barely used it before. There he was. Walking in at 1:17 p.m. No tools in his hands. He left 2 hours later. I stared at that footage for a long time. My brain tried to invent explanations. Maybe he forgot something. Maybe they were planning a block party. I didn't confront her that night. I just lay beside her in bed, listening to her breathe, wondering if that same breath had whispered things to him. I felt crazy, suspicious, small, and terrified of being right. The turning point wasn't dramatic. It was a Thursday. Rainy. I came home early again, unannounced. I didn't plan it that way. Or maybe I did. His truck was there. I didn't check the camera this time. I walked straight to the front door. It was locked. I used my key. The house was quiet except for the faint sound of water running upstairs. The shower. My heart started pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. I walked up the stairs slowly. Each step felt like stepping into a different life. The bathroom door was closed. Steam curling out from underneath. I heard laughter. Not loud. Intimate. And then his voice. Not on speaker. Not distant. Inside. Something in me snapped and froze at the same time. I opened the door. They were in the shower together. I won't describe it in detail. I don't need to. The image is branded onto my brain permanently. Hannah gasped first. Mark turned, shock spreading across his face. Like I was the intruder. What the hell? I heard myself say. My voice sounded like it belonged to someone else. Hannah grabbed a towel, eyes wide. It's not. Don't. I cut her off. Don't insult me. Mark stepped out, muttering something about leaving. I remember wanting to hit him. I didn't. I just stood there shaking. 16 years. 2 kids downstairs at school. And my wife in our shower with the guy who fixed our faucet. The irony would be funny if it didn't make me want to vomit. He brushed past me to leave. I didn't stop him. Maybe I should have. The immediate aftermath was chaos. She followed me into the bedroom, crying. It just happened, she kept saying. It didn't mean anything. I laughed. A horrible, broken sound. You don't accidentally end up naked in a shower. She tried to touch my arm. I pulled away like she'd burned me. How long? I asked. Silence. How long? 3 months, she whispered. 3 months of texts. Of afternoons. Of me kissing her goodbye while she waited for him. I felt humiliation more than anger. I pictured neighbors seeing his truck. Wondering if I knew. Was it just physical? I asked, hating myself for needing to know. She hesitated. That hesitation was worse than any answer. I felt lonely, she said finally. You're never here. There it was. My fault, neatly packaged. I walked out of the house before I said something unforgivable. The rain soaked me. I didn't even feel it. I drove aimlessly for hours. My phone buzzed constantly. Her name lighting up the screen. I ignored it. When I finally came home, the house felt foreign. Contaminated. She was sitting at the kitchen table, red-eyed. We need to talk. I didn't sit. Did you love him? I asked. She looked down. I don't know. That almost broke me more than if she'd said yes. She claimed it started with conversations. That she felt seen. That he listened. That I'd been distant for years. I wanted to argue. But part of me knew I had checked out in some ways. Work became my excuse for everything. Still, loneliness doesn't justify betrayal. You could have told me, I said quietly. I tried, she whispered. Maybe she did. Maybe I didn't hear her. But she didn't try hard enough to stop herself from sleeping with him. That's the part one can't forgive. The kids came home that afternoon, blissfully unaware. We put on normal faces. Asked about homework. Heated leftovers. I watched Hannah move around the kitchen and wondered how many times she'd stood in that same spot texting him. That night, I slept in the guest room. She knocked once. Please don't give up on us. I stared at the ceiling. You already did. I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them behind that foggy glass. The next morning, Mark's house looked the same as always. Curtains open. Car gone. I wanted to march over there. To scream. To tell his ex-wife, his family, the entire block. Instead, I went to work. I sat in meetings and nodded while my marriage dissolved in my chest. Everything looked normal from the outside. Inside, everything was bone dry. Except me. We started therapy 2 weeks later. She begged for it. I agreed mostly because I didn't want to make any permanent decisions in a hurricane of emotion. In therapy, she cried. Said she felt invisible for years. Said Mark made her feel desired again. The therapist asked me how I felt. I didn't have a neat answer. Betrayed. Angry. Inadequate. Stupid. I trusted her. Completely. I never checked her phone before. Never questioned her whereabouts. Now I question everything. Did she compare us? Did she laugh about me with him? Did he know intimate details about my life? The faucet hasn't dripped since he fixed it. It runs perfectly. Every time I turn it on, I think about how easily he inserted himself into our home. How easily I let him. Therapy feels like trying to glue shattered glass with shaking hands. Some days I want to try. Some days I want to walk away. The neighborhood found out. Not because we told them. Because gossip spreads like mold. Mark moved out suddenly. Job opportunity, people said. I saw the looks, though. The awkward pauses. One neighbor asked if everything was okay between me and Hannah. I smiled so hard my jaw hurt. The kids sensed tension. Our daughter asked why I don't hug Mom as much. How do you explain that kind of fracture to a child? At night, Hannah reaches for me sometimes. I freeze. I still love her. That's the sick part. I love the woman who shattered me. But I don't trust her. And love without trust feels like holding water in your hands. It slips through no matter how tight you grip. I've lost weight. I barely sleep. My mind replays that bathroom door opening on a loop. I used to feel solid. Now I feel hollowed out. We had one final explosive argument a month ago. I've apologized 1,000 times, she shouted. And I've only found out once. I shot back. How many times did you lie before that? She swore it was over. That she cut contact. That she regrets everything. I asked her why the shower. Out of all places. She started crying again. It was spontaneous. I almost laughed. There's nothing spontaneous about 3 months. I can't compete with the fantasy version of you, she said. He saw me differently. That sentence stuck with me. Maybe we both stopped seeing each other years ago. Maybe routine dried us out long before he showed up with a wrench. But instead of talking to me, she invited him into our most private space. That choice wasn't about loneliness. It was about permission. And she gave it. Right now, we're separated but still living under the same roof. For the kids. I sleep downstairs. She stays in our bedroom. We function like polite roommates. Grocery lists. School pickups. Bills. No more casual touches. No more inside jokes. Sometimes I catch her watching me like she's trying to memorize what she lost. I don't know if I want to be memorized. Friends tell me to leave. Some say to forgive. Everyone has an opinion. At 43, I never imagined starting over. Dating apps. Explaining baggage. Dividing holidays. But I also never imagined opening my bathroom door to that scene. I keep thinking about dryness. The faucet used to drip constantly. Annoying but alive. Now it runs smoothly. Our marriage feels the opposite. On the surface, it looks functional. Underneath, it's cracked and empty. And I don't know if water can ever flow the same way again. I'm writing this because I don't fully understand my own role in this disaster. Was I absent? Yes. Did I neglect parts of our relationship? Probably. Did that give her the right to betray me? No. I keep circling the same thoughts at 2 a.m. If I'd fixed the faucet myself, would this have happened? If I'd come home earlier, listened more, touched her more, or would something else have broken instead? I don't have closure. I don't have a dramatic ending. Just a quiet house and a woman I both love and resent. People say time heals. Right now, time just feels like a slow leak. Everything in this house is dry. The trust. The intimacy. The easy laughter. Except me. I'm still soaked in it. And I don't know how long it takes to air out a soul.